Hello students. Now in this part or this topic we will study the fate of the products of photosynthesis, which we have studied in mechanism of photosynthesis. There were four products, that is uh, oxygen, water, ATP and glucose. So what are the fate of products? Fate of products. Fate of products. Like first of all, suppose we write oxygen. Oxygen. Now oxygen is produced in the cells, which is used by them for respiration process. So whatever may be the amount of oxygen produced is used in respiration, and if it is in excess, then it is released to the atmosphere through stomata. So we say that during daytime plants absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. Now second part is water. Water is again either used in the process of photosynthesis or it forms the part of the protoplasm. Now it is used in this way. Third, the glucose. Glucose, as you know, that it is the product which is also used in respiration process. So it is used in different ways. For example, used directly by the cell, used by cells for respiration, that is for production of energy. Next, it is used for synthesis of other compounds, other organic compounds like fats, proteins, etc. And then the excess of glucose is converted to a starch for storage by the process called polymerization. So students, it is the question is also asked that name the process by which glucose is converted to starch. So in this way the three main products of photosynthesis are used. Students, we know that photosynthesis takes place in the leaves mainly. The question arises that how is the leaf adapted for photosynthesis? What is the specific features of the leaves? So there are many points related to it, that is adaptation in leaf. There are many points related to it. Like in first part, as you know, that the leaf has large surface area by which it can absorb maximum amount of light energy. Although in some xerophytes or some plants, the surface area of the leaf is reduced in order to reduce the process of transpiration. Like so, large surface area for absorption of sunlight. One point, one adaptation. Second, numerous stomata allow rapid diffusion of CO2. Second one. Third, the arrangement of leaf. Now in dicot plant, the leaves are placed in horizontal position at right angle to the twigs such that the maximum of sunlight falls on its upper surface where there are more chloroplast concentrated. So more sunlight is absorbed. So in dicot plant mainly, dicot plant also known as dorsiventral leaf, dicot plant leaves are arranged horizontally or at right angle to the twig to absorb maximum sunlight. Now fourth point related to it, the thinness of the leaf. Thinness of leaf allows easy diffusion of substances between cells. Next, one more thing, that is the extensive vein system. The extensive vein system allows easy distribution or translocation of substances. Next, one more. The cuticle, the transparent cuticle layer and the cells of upper epidermis allows easy diffusion of CO2 to reach up to the palisade layer such that photosynthesis can take place at a maximum rate. So these were the different points or adaptations of the leaf due to which it performs photosynthesis. Students, in that is, as you have studied about the product oxygen, and we have also studied that carbon dioxide is diffused in during daytime and oxygen gas is released. But actually this process does not take place at all the time. In the morning, when photosynthesis starts, there is low intensity of the sunlight, so it takes place at a slow rate. Gradually the production intensity of sunlight increases and rate of photosynthesis also increases. When the rate of photosynthesis exceeds over respiration, then the extra oxygen is released in the process of in the atmosphere. Again, in the afternoon, gradually rate of photosynthesis start to decrease, and when it becomes less than respiration, then at that time again for the extra CO2 is released to the atmosphere and oxygen is taken from atmosphere. So we use a term that is called compensation point. Now students, we explain this point comparing the two processes. This is the time, as you have studied, we have discussed, that is rate of photosynthesis is not always higher than the rate of respiration. The time during the day at which the rate of photosynthesis and rate of respiration are equal such that no gaseous exchange takes place from air is called compensation point. So at that time the gaseous product of one process is sufficiently used in the another process, and it can be represented by this graph. Suppose here is the rate of process, and here is the time during the day, that is like this is morning, this is evening. Now you see that respiration takes place almost at constant rate. But in the morning, photosynthesis starts from zero. Gradually, with increasing intensity of light, the rate of photosynthesis increases. At a point, it exceeds respiration. And again, in the afternoon, it starts to decrease due to decreasing intensity of sunlight. So these are the 2 points. This is for photosynthesis. So we see here, that is, at these 2 points, the rate of photosynthesis and rate of respirations are equal. No gaseous exchange takes place at that time from atmosphere, and this is the compensation point. So these were the different points related to it. Now students, we will here study about the factors affecting the rate of photosynthesis. Factors affecting rate of photosynthesis. Now, before going to start with this topic, we first of all we study the limiting factor. Actually, there is a different term. What is limiting factor? When a biological process is affected by 2 or more factors, then the rate of photosynthesis is governed by that factor which is in lower concentration. It is called the law of limiting factor. Again, remember it. When a biological process is affected by 2 or more factors, then the rate of the process is governed by that factor which is in a lower concentration. Now, let us start with the factors: light intensity, and second, we will study the 2 factors together, CO2 concentration. In general, in atmosphere, the concentration of CO2 remains almost constant. But we know with increased intensity of sunlight, the rate of photosynthesis will start to increase. But after some time, it will become constant. That is, it will get stabilized at a certain rate. Even though there is further increase in light intensity, the rate of photosynthesis will not increase at that time. If the concentration of CO2 is increased, then rate of photosynthesis will again start to increase according to obeying the 2 factors, light intensity and CO2 concentration together. Like it can be shown in this diagram. Suppose here we take the rate of process, rate of photosynthesis, rate of process, and here we take the time. Now first of all, the rate of photosynthesis start to increase or time, not time, light intensity. So with increase in light intensity, the rate of photosynthesis starts to increase, but at certain time it becomes constant. This is the rate, it will become constant. At that time actually the normal concentration of CO2 was 0.02%. This is the normal concentration, it is not changing. It becomes constant at that time. If we increase the concentration of CO2, then the rate of photosynthesis will again start to increase and it becomes constant at another level, S2, when the CO2 concentration is increased to this concentration. Thus we see that CO2 here acts as the limiting factor, because the rate of process or photosynthesis was governed by the concentration of CO2 at this period. So this was the two factors taken together. Now students, the next factor, the third factor, is temperature. This is one of the important factor. Temperature. With increase in temperature, the rate of photosynthesis also increases. The optimum temperature for photosynthesis is 35 degrees Celsius. Now you see that below 35 degrees Celsius, the rate of photosynthesis increases and it gets doubled to its initial value, that is its initial value of rate of photosynthesis for every 10 degrees Celsius rise in temperature. For example, suppose we start photosynthesis at temperature 10 degrees Celsius and the rate of photosynthesis is X. As the temperature rises, the rate of photosynthesis also start to increase. When temperature reaches to 20 degrees Celsius, the rate of photosynthesis becomes double to that of the initial. Again, if it reaches to 30 degrees Celsius, it becomes 4x and so. So, for every 10 degrees Celsius rise in temperature, the rate of photosynthesis gets doubled. Now, question is asked that suppose during the process of photosynthesis, suppose we perform process of photosynthesis or experiment on photosynthesis, suppose ice cubes are placed, or that is it is kept in a cold condition, then the rate of photosynthesis will decrease due to the decreased temperature. Now, these were the main factors related to photosynthesis. We can take one more factor, that is water. Due to the deficiency of water, rate of photosynthesis is decreased due to the partial closure of stomata. The reason is that if there is reduced supply of oxygen due to less absorption from the soil or due to excess of transpiration, the stomata gets partially closed and hence less CO2 is diffused in. Therefore, the rate of photosynthesis will decrease. Now, There are some internal factors also given. Internal factors like chlorophyll. Chlorophyll. Now you see the nutritional deficiency of like magnesium, the chlorophyll will not be synthesized properly and the rate of photosynthesis will decrease. Second, protoplasm. Protoplasm. Now here we see the dehydration of protoplasm or accumulation of the nutrients like sugar in the cells, the rate of photosynthesis is also decreased. So, students, these were the different factors affecting the rate of photosynthesis.